A cruise can look like one of the best value holidays you can book, and sometimes it is. The cabin is paid for, the food is paid for, the entertainment is paid for. So once you step on board, it is easy to relax and think, what's one extra drink? What's one little upgrade? What's one quick shop purchase? But that is where passengers get caught because cruise lines are very good at making extra spending feel painless. No wallet, no cash, just one little cruise card that makes every drink, snack, photo, spa offer, specialty dinner, and why not? We're on holiday moment feel almost harmless until the final bill arrives. That is when all those small charges suddenly stop feeling small. So today we're looking at 15 cruise charges that catch passengers after they board. Some are obvious once you know them, some are dressed up to look harmless. And if you stay to the end, you'll see the one excuse that makes almost every onboard charge easier to justify. And it is the one cruise lines are counting on. Number one, the cabin mini fridge charge, hiding in plain sight. The mini fridge in your cabin is one of those charges passengers often don't take seriously until it is already on their account. A can of soda, a bottle of water, a small snack. It is sitting right there so it feels harmless. And that is exactly why it works. You are tired from travel, the ship has only just left, you cannot be bothered walking to a bar, and suddenly that little drink in the fridge feels like no big deal. Then later, the charge appears. And that is when some passengers get annoyed because they did not realize how expensive it was, or they assumed it was included, or they thought, surely one little cannot cost that much. But on a cruise ship, convenience is rarely cheap. Some passengers know this and do not care. They look at the price list, decide it is worth paying for, and enjoy the convenience. Fair enough. But the passengers who get caught are the ones who grab first and check later. And the same thing happens with bottled water, sunscreen, painkillers, seasickness tablets, and forgotten toiletries. Things that cost a few dollars at home can suddenly cost a lot more once you are on board with limited choices. That is why this charge is so annoying. It does not feel like a big splurge. It feels like a tiny moment of convenience, but those tiny moments are exactly what pad the bill. So if you know you will be tempted, ask your cabin steward to empty the mini fridge early and pack the small basics before you board. Because nothing ruins the taste of a can of soda faster than finding out it cost more than lunch on land. Number two, the service fee added after you thought you knew the price. This is one of the cruise charges that annoys passengers because it feels like the price keeps moving. You see a drink for one price, a spa treatment for one price, a specialty restaurant for one price, a bottled water package for one price, and you think, okay, that is what it costs, but then the service charge gets added. And suddenly the number is not quite the number you thought you were agreeing to. That is where passengers get caught because it is not always the main price that hurts. It is the extra percentage added on top of something that already felt expensive. A drink package may have a service charge. A massage may have a service charge. Specialty dining may have a service charge. Room delivery, bottled water, and other onboard purchases can sometimes come with extra charges too. And the frustrating part is many passengers only notice it properly when they check the account later. That is when the mood changes from we are on holiday to hang on, why is this higher than I thought? Some passengers do not mind. They know the service charge is coming, they budget for it, and they still feel the purchase is worth it. That is completely fine. But the passengers who get caught are the ones who only look at the first price and forget that the ship may not be finished adding to it. And cruise lines know this. A smaller looking price is easier to say yes to than the full amount after every extra has been added. So before you buy the package, book the treatment, order the bottle, or say yes to that special onboard offer, look at the final price, not the pretty price, not the starting price, the final price. Because on a cruise, the number you first see is not always the number that lands on your bill. Number three, the free spa consultation that can become a very expensive yes. The word free does a lot of heavy lifting on a cruise ship. Free spa consultation, free posture check, free skin analysis, free wellness talk, free advice from a specialist. It sounds harmless. You think, I'll just go in, listen for a few minutes, and leave. But that is not always how it plays out. Some passengers walk in expecting a relaxing little freebie and walk out feeling pressured to buy creams, supplements, treatments, inserts, detox products, or a package they never planned to purchase. And this is where people get annoyed because the appointment may start free, but the conversation can quickly turn into, this product would be perfect for you, or you really should continue this treatment, or this price is only available on board today. Now, some passengers know exactly what they are doing. They enjoy the spa, they like the products, they want the treatment, and they are happy to pay for the luxury. Nothing wrong with that. But the passengers who get caught are the ones who went in thinking it was just a quick free consultation, then felt too awkward, too embarrassed, or too swept up in the moment to say no. That is the real charge, not just the product, the pressure. Because once you are sitting there in a robe on holiday, being told this is special, relaxing, and only available now, it can be much harder to walk away. So if you want the spa, enjoy it. But if you only went because it said free, decide before you walk in whether you are actually willing to spend money. Because free is often just the door opening. The bill can come after you sit down. And by the way, if this is helping you spot the charges before they catch you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more cruise tips. Coming up, the next few charges are the ones passengers often justify in the moment, then question later when the bill starts looking a lot less relaxing. Number 4, the jewelry purchase that starts with free sparkling wine. Cruise ship jewelry sales are dangerous because they rarely feel like normal shopping. They feel like an event. You see the sign, free sparkling wine, special onboard sale, one day only, maybe a raffle, maybe a little gift just for turning up. So passengers wander in thinking, we'll just have a look. And that is exactly the point. The free drink gets you through the door. The sparkle keeps you looking. And the special cruise price makes it feel like waiting would be silly. Some passengers know exactly what they are doing. They like the jewelry, they know the brand, they check the price, and they are happy to pay because it reminds them of the cruise. That is fine. But the passengers who get caught are the ones who only went in for the free drink and walked out with a watch, a chain, or a ring they never planned to buy. That is when the free sparkling wine was not really free. It was the first step in getting the cruise card out. And sometimes the regret does not hit until later. When they get home, when they compare the price, when the rare deal does not look so rare anymore, or when they realize the same shop started offering better discounts near the end of the cruise. That is the part a lot of passengers learn too late. The first sale is not always the best sale. Sometimes the better deals appear in the final days when the ship is trying to move stock before everyone leaves. So if you go to one of those jewelry events, enjoy the drink if you want it. But do not confuse a good mood with a good deal. Check the price, wait if you are unsure, and do not let a glass of sparkling wine rush you into buying something your normal brain would have walked past on land. Because the cruise line is not pouring sparkling wine because it forgot how to make money. Number 5, the bingo tablet that makes spending feel too easy. Bingo on a cruise ship can look harmless. And honestly, for a lot of passengers, it is one of the most fun little parts of the cruise. The room is full, everyone is laughing, people are watching their numbers, someone is convinced they are one call away from winning, and for some cruisers, that bingo session becomes part of the holiday. They are not playing because they think it is a serious financial plan. They are playing because it is fun. They like the atmosphere. They like the chance of winning. They like sitting there with a drink, a card, a dabber, and that tiny bit of hope that maybe this is their lucky cruise. And if you budget for it and enjoy it, that is completely fine. But bingo can catch passengers because it does not always feel like gambling. In the same way the casino does, it feels softer, friendlier, more innocent, like something you do for a laugh. Then the tablet comes out. And that is where it can get expensive very quickly. Because with paper cards, you can see what you bought. You know how many cards are in front of you. It feels more physical. But with the electronic tablet, it can feel easier to add more games, more chances, and more money without it feeling quite as real. Some passengers end up spending more than they planned because the tablet makes it feel simple. Tap, add, play, hope. And suddenly the fun little bingo session is not so little anymore. That does not mean you should never play. It means you should decide your limit before you sit down. Not once the room is excited. Not once the jackpot is being announced. Not once everyone around you is buying extra chances. Before. Because bingo is great when you treat it like paid entertainment. But if the tablet talks you into spending far more than you would have spent on paper cards, that is when the cruise line has made the game a lot easier to buy than it is to win. Number 6, the specialty dining charge that makes you pay twice for dinner. Specialty dining is not usually a mystery charge. Most passengers know there is a price before they sit down. That is not the problem. The problem is how easy it is to forget what you have already paid for. Your cruise fare already includes dinner. The main dining room is included. The buffet is included. Other casual food spots may be included too. So when you book a specialty restaurant, you are not just paying for dinner. You are paying extra on top of the dinner you already bought with the cruise. Now, some passengers do not mind that at all. They love the quieter room. They want the better steak. They want the anniversary dinner. They want the sushi, the seafood, the Italian restaurant, or the steakhouse experience. And if they budgeted for it, fair enough. A good meal can be one of the best memories of the cruise. But the passengers who get caught are the ones who start treating specialty dining like something they have to do. Everyone says it is amazing. The restaurant looks nicer. The menu sounds better. The cruise line makes it feel like the real treat is behind another charge. Then one dinner becomes two, two becomes three, and suddenly they have spent a few $100s eating on a ship where they already had food included. That is when specialty dining starts to sting. Not because it is always bad value, but because it can make included food feel second class, even when it would have been perfectly fine. The smarter way is to choose specialty dining because you genuinely want that restaurant, not because the ship made you feel like the included food was not enough. And before you book, check the little things. Is lunch cheaper than dinner? Is there a first night offer? Is it included in a package you already paid for? Is there a free bottle of wine or a promotion that actually makes it worth it? Because specialty dining can be a lovely splurge. But if you're paying extra just because everyone else says you should, you may not be buying a better dinner. You may just be buying the feeling that dinner counts more when it costs extra. Number 7, the casino spin that feels like entertainment until you chase it. Cruise casinos are clever because they do not always feel like a normal casino. For some passengers, it is their first real casino experience. They are already on holiday. They are dressed up after dinner. The lights are flashing. The machines are making noise. Someone nearby just won something. A host might remember a name, a drink, or a face. And suddenly, walking through the casino does not feel like a money decision. It feels like part of the cruise. That is where passengers get caught. Some people know exactly what they are doing. They set a limit, treat it like paid entertainment, and if the money is gone, they walk away. That is fine. But cruise casinos are not built around people walking away early. They are built around keeping the mood going. A little promo, a tournament, a points offer, a discounted or free cruise offer if you play enough, a drink brought over at just the right time, a machine that nearly wins enough times to make you think the next one might hit. And before long, the passenger who only planned to have a quick look is sitting there saying, just one more. That is the dangerous part, not the first spin, the chase, trying to win back what you lost, trying to earn the offer, trying to make the night end on a win. And this is where the free cruise idea can be misleading. Some passengers do get casino offers, and if they enjoy playing anyway, they might love that. But if you had to gamble a lot of money to get that offer, was it really free, or did you just pay for the next cruise one spin at a time? So if you go into the casino, go in with a number you are genuinely happy to lose, not what you hope to win, not what you plan to win back, what you are happy to lose, because the cruise casino can be fun. But the second you start chasing, the ship is no longer selling entertainment. It is selling the feeling that the next spin might fix everything. Number 8, the cruise card charge that does not feel real until the final bill. The cruise card is dangerous because it does not feel like spending real money. You are not pulling cash out of your wallet. You are not watching your bank card decline in front of strangers. You are just tapping a little card and moving on with your holiday. That is what makes it so easy. A coffee here, a cocktail there, a photo, a snack, a shop purchase, a bingo game, a specialty dessert, a little upgrade, something from the cabin, something from the bar, something that felt small enough not to think about. And in the moment, it barely feels like spending. That is why some passengers get shocked at the end. They did not buy one huge thing. They bought a lot of small things that felt harmless because the cruise card made every purchase feel painless. Some passengers do not mind. They check the account every day. They know what they are spending, and they treat the cruise card like a normal wallet. That is the smart way. But the passengers who get caught are the ones who keep saying, it is only this once, until only this once has happened 20 times. Then the final bill arrives, and suddenly the holiday mood disappears very quickly because the cruise card kept score the whole time, even when the passenger did not. So the trick is not to stop yourself from buying anything. That is miserable. The trick is to check your onboard account before the last morning. Because the worst time to discover your cruise card had a very busy week is when you are packing your suitcase and trying to pretend the holiday is not over. And coming up, the next few are the charges that can split cruisers right down the middle. Some passengers swear they are worth every dollar. Others say they would never pay for them again. And the tricky part is both sides can be right, depending on the cruise, the passenger, and whether they knew the real cost before they said yes. Number 9, the drink package that only works if your cruise matches your habits. Drink packages are one of the biggest cruise debates because for some passengers, they are brilliant. They like the convenience. They like not checking every price. They like ordering cocktails, wine, specialty coffee, soda, bottled water, and not thinking about the bill every time. For the right passenger on the right cruise, it can absolutely make sense. But this is where people get caught. On many cruise lines, if one adult in the cabin buys the alcohol package, the other adult usually has to buy it too, or at least buy a non alcoholic package. And that is the part a lot of passengers do not think about properly until the price doubles. One person might say, I'll definitely use it. The other person might barely drink. But the bill does not care who is excited about cocktails and who just wanted a cup of tea. Now, suddenly, the package is not just about whether one person drinks enough, it is about whether the whole cabin drinks enough to make the cost worth it. That can get awkward fast because one person may start feeling pressure to drink more, the other may feel annoyed paying for something they never wanted, and the cruise line has already made the sale before either person has really worked out the true daily cost. Then add port days. If you are off the ship for 6 or 7 hours, that is a lot of time when you are not using the package you paid for. Then add drink limits. Some packages only cover drinks up to a certain price. So if you order something above that limit, you may still pay the difference. That is how a package that felt like freedom can turn into pressure. Pressure to drink more, pressure to order extras, pressure to get your money's worth. So before you buy it, do the boring maths, not holiday maths, real maths. How many drinks will you actually have? How many port days are there? Does everyone in the cabin have to buy something? Are coffees, water, soda, and tips included? And would you still buy it if you were not trying to keep up with someone else? Because the drink package can be a great deal for the right cruiser. But for the wrong cabin, it can become one of the most expensive ways to find out one person likes cocktails a lot more than the other. Number 10, the Wi Fi price that makes passengers feel trapped. Cruise Wi Fi is one of those charges that can make passengers angry before they even buy it. Because on land, we are used to being connected all the time at home, at cafes, at hotels, at airports, even in shopping centers. So when passengers get on a cruise ship and see the Wi Fi price, it can feel ridiculous. And yet, many people still pay it because that is the trap. You are already on board. You are already at sea. You might need to message family, check work, use banking, send photos, keep in touch with someone at home, or just scroll for 5 minutes because your brain forgot how to sit still without a phone. Some passengers do not mind paying. They budget for Wi Fi, they need it, and they like knowing they can stay connected. For them, it is part of the cruise cost. But other passengers get caught because they only decide once they are already on board and realize they do not like being cut off. That is when the price feels less like a choice and more like a ransom note with a signal bar. And it can get even more annoying when the package does not work the way people expected. Maybe it only covers one device. Maybe switching devices is a hassle. Maybe the speed is not good enough for what they wanted. Maybe they thought they could hotspot it to someone else and then realize that is not how the ship package works. That is when passengers start feeling like they paid a lot for something that still has rules attached. The smarter move is to decide before you board. Do you actually need Wi Fi? Can you use port Wi Fi instead? Would a land eSIM help on a port heavy cruise? Can you share one plan by switching devices? Or would the best holiday choice be putting the phone away and letting the world survive without you for a few days? Because Wi Fi can be useful, but buying it in a panic once you're already at sea is usually when it feels the most expensive. Number 11, the shore excursion price gap that is not as simple as it looks. Shore excursions are one of those cruise charges that can split passengers right down the middle. Some people look at the cruise line price and think, absolutely not. Because sometimes the same beach, same lookout, same boat ride, or same city tour looks much cheaper if you book it outside the cruise line. And yes, that price gap can be painful. You might see a ship excursion for a big number, then find something similar online or at the port for much less. That is where passengers start feeling like the cruise line is charging extra just because it can. And sometimes that might be exactly how it feels. But this is also where the decision is not always simple because the cruise line excursion is not only selling the activity, it is selling convenience, a meeting point, a bus waiting, a guide who knows the ship schedule, and most importantly, more peace of mind if the tour runs late. Some passengers are happy to pay extra for that, especially if the port is far from the attraction, traffic is unpredictable, the tour is long, or they are nervous about getting back to the ship on time. That is fair. But the passengers who get caught are the ones who choose without thinking. They either book the ship excursion because they assume it is always the safest choice, even when the place is 5 minutes from the port, or they book the cheapest outside tour without checking distance, timing, reviews, insurance, cancellation rules, or what happens if the ship changes schedule. Both mistakes can cost you. One can cost you extra money. The other can cost you stress, missed plans, or in the worst case, a very expensive problem if you are not back before the ship leaves. So before you book, do not just ask, which one is cheaper? Ask, what am I actually paying for? If it is a short, easy port day, independent might make sense. If it is a long tour, far from the ship, paying more through the cruise line might be the price of sleeping properly the night before. Because with excursions, the cheapest option is not always the smartest, but the cruise line option is not automatically the best deal either. Number 12, the cruise transfer that sounds easy until you compare the real cost. Cruise transfers sound so simple. The ship gets you off, the bus is waiting, your luggage goes with you, and you do not have to think about taxis, ride shares, traffic, or finding your way through a busy port. For some passengers, that convenience is worth it. If you are traveling solo, nervous about the port, arriving at a strange airport, or just want someone else to handle the boring part, a cruise transfer can feel like money well spent. But this is where passengers get caught. Cruise transfers are often charged per person. That means the price can look reasonable for one passenger. But once there are 2, 3, or 4 people, the total can start looking very different. A couple might be paying twice, a family might be paying 3 or 4 times, and suddenly the easy option is not so cheap compared with a taxi, Uber, private shuttle, hotel shuttle, or even a rental car, depending on the port. The other thing passengers forget is waiting. You may not leave the second you step off the ship. You might be waiting for the bus to fill, waiting for luggage, waiting for other passengers, waiting while everyone gets organized. So, yes, the cruise transfer may be simple, but simple does not always mean faster. And it definitely does not always mean cheaper. Some passengers will still choose it and be happy. They want the easiest option and they do not care if it costs a bit more. That is fine. But the passengers who get caught are the ones who book it automatically because it sounds official, then later realize they paid more and waited longer than they needed to. So before you tick the transfer box, compare the real cost for your group, not just the price per person, the total. Because a cruise transfer can be a stress saver. But for the wrong group, it can also be a very expensive bus ride you could have beaten with one rideshare app. Number 13, the cruise photo package that catches you when the moment feels too special to skip. Cruise photos are clever because they do not feel like a normal purchase. They feel emotional. You are dressed up for formal night. The family is finally together. The kids are smiling for once. You and your partner actually look relaxed. Or you're walking onto the ship on embarkation day, excited, happy, and thinking, this might be a nice memory. That is where passengers get caught. Because at first you think you only want one photo, just one, then you see another one you like, then another, then the package starts looking better than buying them one by one, and suddenly the photo you nearly walked past has turned into a much bigger charge. Some passengers love the packages. They know they want proper cruise photos, they budget for it, and they are happy because they rarely get nice photos together at home. That is fair. But the passengers who get caught are the ones who did not plan to buy photos at all. They just saw a good one. Then the salesperson or the screen makes the package feel like the smarter choice. And because the moment feels special, saying no feels harder. That is the real trap. You are not just buying a picture. You are buying the feeling of the cruise. So before you choose the package, ask yourself if you really want all those photos, or if you are being pulled in because one of them made you emotional. Because cruise photos can be a beautiful keepsake. But one nice photo can become a very expensive memory if you let the package do the thinking for you. Number 14, the medical center visit a tiny first aid kit could have avoided. The medical center on a cruise ship is one of those charges passengers do not think about until they need it. And sometimes you absolutely need it. If something is serious, painful, scary, or unsafe, go. Do not sit in your cabin trying to save money if you actually need medical help. But this is about the smaller things: the blister, the headache, the seasick feeling, the tiny cut, the upset stomach, the sore throat, the bug bite, the thing you could have handled easily at home if you had packed the basics. That is where passengers get caught. Because once you are on board, you cannot just run to your normal chemist, grab the cheap version, and be done. You are stuck with ship prices, limited supplies, or a medical visit that can cost far more than people expect. Some passengers do not mind. They would rather pack light and buy what they need if they need it. That is their choice. But the passengers who get annoyed are the ones who realize they are paying cruise ship prices for something they already had, sitting in a drawer at home. A few Band-Aids, painkillers, seasickness tablets, stomach medicine, blister plasters, antihistamines, a small tube of cream. These things take up almost no room, but they can save you from paying a lot more on board. And the worst part is, being unprepared can waste time as well as money. Instead of enjoying the ship, you are hunting for basic supplies, visiting the medical center, or feeling miserable because you did not pack something simple. So bring a small first aid kit, not a hospital, just the basics. Because the most annoying cruise charge is often the one that could have been avoided with a tiny pouch in your suitcase. Number 15, the I'm on vacation excuse that makes every charge easier to justify. This is the charge behind almost every other charge on the ship. It is not a drink. It is not Wi Fi. It is not a photo. It is not a spa product, a bingo tablet, or a specialty dinner. It is the little voice in your head that says, go on, you're on vacation. And cruise lines know that voice very well. At home, you might think twice. You might compare prices. You might say, no, that is too much. But on board, everything feels different. You are relaxed. You are excited. You are away from normal life. You have waited months for this cruise. And suddenly, every extra feels easier to explain. It is only one drink. It is only one photo. It is only one dinner. It is only one souvenir. It is only one upgrade. But only one becomes dangerous when you say it 10 times. Some passengers do not mind spending more on board. They budget for it, they enjoy it, and they would rather pay for the experience than come home feeling like they missed out. That is fine. But the passengers who get caught are the ones who never made a real decision. They just kept saying yes because they were in holiday mode. And by the time the final bill arrives, they realized the cruise line did not need to force them to spend. It just had to make spending feel like part of the fun. So before you board, give yourself permission to enjoy the cruise, but also give yourself a limit because the final bill does not care that you were relaxed, excited, or wearing a lanyard. It only shows what you said yes to. At the end of the day, the cruise line does not need you to make one huge mistake. It just needs you to say yes to a lot of little things. So enjoy your cruise, treat yourself where it matters, but do not let holiday mode make every charge feel harmless. If you made it all the way to the end, please give this video a like and subscribe for more cruise tips. And let me know in the comments, which cruise charge do you think is the worst one? Thanks for watching and check out the video on the screen now.